My name is Carlin. Welcome to my channel. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. Things you see me doing in my videos are probably not the best way you could do things. Sometimes I know better. Sometimes I will eventually learn about a better way. I don't go out of my way to be dangerous though. So if you see something, go ahead and mention it in the comments. I really do like the following sayings, even though they probably are cliche. Do what you can with what you have where you are. And from the military mindset, improvise, adapt, and overcome. Or, more recently, something I've been using a lot, fabricate or die. With all that said, the following video is a record of how I did something. You probably can do better. It's not my job to be here telling you how to do something, okay? You have been warned. On with the show. Alright, I'll work on the presentation part later, but in the meantime, your normal 2x4, about 3.5 inches wide, right? So, this one, about 3 inches wide. What gives? So I lost 1/2 inch in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cuts. Okay, so I got 6 pieces out of a 2x4. I was just kind of starting this as an experiment, like how small am I comfortable going. I set the saw to 1/2 inch. I could probably go a little bit smaller, but 1/2 inch, you get such a small piece of wood going between the blade and the fence, you can't get the push stick in there, right? So this scrap, I just kind of looked around. I was going to start with a littler one. I'm like, that's just too small. But this one was long enough that as I was getting too close to the blade on the push side, I could reach around and pull it away from the blade coming out. So I'm like, okay, you can get away with that, right? This is a project now. You can hear the table or the generator in the background. This is a project I've had in mind for a while. I want to have some kind of a little cell phone holder that's part of my bed frame, right? So I can have music playing at nights. There's a timer on Android. You can probably do it on iPhone as well. Say, okay, give me 30 minutes of music and then stop, right? So I'm like, okay, if I could just have this thing sitting there close enough to me so I don't have to have it cranked. I mean, I don't have any neighbors, so that's not a big deal, but I just have a nice, easy, quiet, in-between volume level close enough to my head, but where I won't knock it off the bed. And right now I don't have a nightstand or anything over there, so I thought if I could just make a little something to hold this, right? And what got me started was the phone literally is about the size of a piece of a 2x4, all right? So my first thought was, could I cut this down and get the phone to just drop down inside of it, right? That was the first thought. And I'm like, that's kind of fiddly. So I kind of abandoned that, but the bed frame itself is made out of 2x4s. So I was like, okay, so if I can, cobble something together. I did want to make just a mark. I want to keep this sort of lined up the same-ish, so I know which end is which. So I'll just make a mark on them so I can put them back together again. Doesn't super matter. I'm not going for high craftsmanship here, but it was just kind of a fun idea. I take these ones out. Yeah, I guess it's really not going to matter. So I was like, all right, I need a bottom to the box. And what I was thinking is if I can just lay this together, pop it with brads, and I'm done, right? And maybe a front to the box so the phone doesn't fall out. And then something about there. And then when the phone goes into it, I can still get it out, right? So actually, I don't need anything that thick either. So we'll end up with something that looks kind of like a crate or something. I don't know. I haven't really thought very much beyond this. I just wanted to see how small I could cut things without being too dangerous. And 1/2 inch I felt okay with as long as the piece is long enough. I could probably go thinner, but then you get stuck, the wood, because I'm using just, construction grade 2x4s. You can slice one of these in half sometimes and they'll just go out, or they'll turn in and they'll jam up on the blade, and it's just a mess. So
These pieces are just spacers to hold everything up a little bit. I'm assembling this on top of a 2x4, which I will then use. The 2x4 will be attached, so this will be the backing plate basically. It's kind of overkill, but that works. That way I know it'll work. So on my sides, I'll make them even to the bottom edge here, like so. This is one of these is the bottom. These are really rough. That kind of adds to the appeal, right? And then just 2 across the front so it doesn't fall out. And that's good enough, right? The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole in the bottom of this one. Probably notch it, so it'll be a straight cut down and then a rounded bottom for the power cable, and also so I can just kind of reach my finger in and push it out and then pull it out from the top, right? I've got 2 of these phones. They're Nexus 5s. This one's obviously the broken one, but it still works. So I'm like, okay, let's use that for at night listening to music, and then the other one is the one I actually have the SIM card in. So the power port is on the bottom. There's a headphone jack here. I'm not going to use the headphones because I always get tangled up if I wear headphones when I'm sleeping. So I'm not going to use that. So I'm going to make a hole here first. I think I'll do that on the drill press. We'll do that and then come back. All right, 1-inch spade bit, probably not the best choice, but that's what we're going with. I want the hole as close to this edge as I can, and then I'm going to go in with probably a little recip saw and just cut down, so I'll have a rounded bottom and straight up sides, okay? So I'm going to put that edge where I can see it better. Not bad. Yeah, could have been better. I spend all my money on metalworking tools and then I use them for woodworking anyway. That's just wrong. Good. Back outside. All right, we're back into the sun, right? So that'll go there. Yeah, I think that'll work. So, how best to proceed, right? This is wood glue, not shampoo. Something like that to there. Now what I have no idea about is if I can get away with shooting brads in something this small without it exploding. I'd like to brad it. Yeah, we'll try it. If it splits, we just won't do any more. Alright, still got some air from yesterday. That's a good day, right? Got the smallest brads I could find on the shelf. Now, on something like this that you're expecting it to split, keep your fingers out of the way. Hey, got away with it. Fair enough. Tempt the fates here. Finger. Cool. Might get away with this. I'll flip it around, and I'm using these pieces here are helping me get the spacing where I want it. That's the idea. That one came through. A little bit. A little bit. How funny. First one, they all were fine. Second one, I got a bunch of them coming out. Just my luck. This will go this way. No, this way. Yeah, that makes more sense. guess it's more fun if you get it on your fingers. I don't know. Not my thing. Some of this is just learning what I can get away with here too. Like this is probably going to come out one side or the other. Cool. This changes everything. I got the air dialed way down to, I don't know, 60 or something like that. I think that helps. These are flush cutters. I don't know if that's the best choice or not, but it's what comes to mind. Leaves a little bit sticking up, but not nearly as bad as it was. I think I can beat them down with a hammer. Okay, this is an unusually good day. I just remembered I own a nail set, and I found it. So I'm just going to bop these guys down, because I don't want them scratching my phone up. Perfect. Too much. Let's bop this guy. Good. No longer sticking out for the phone, now it's on the other side. I wonder if I could just pull that one out. Don't really need it there. Hey, look at that. Hey, we're getting there. Cool. Alright. Keep those handy. So, the phone will go in like that, and then I can just push it up. So to keep it from falling out, we're going to put one of these here. And I'm kind of aware of the fact that these ones, the speakers are here, so when you're listening to music, it'll come out both of those. Now I could put it sideways, but I'm not gonna. So there's a little bit of glue on here. Since we got too much, we'll put some of that. There. Think happy thoughts. That's so cool. That one came out. Somewhere about there. Had one more come out. That one, I don't care about that one right there. Okay. So with that, I'll just bop it with the set and kind of bend it in so it doesn't stick out and get me. Good enough. That was the official way of testing things in the military. When you got done a project, you'd run your hand across it. If you didn't get any slivers or splinters or gaping wounds, you're okay. In training, that's what your instructor was going to do, and he would tell you that. So when you were done, you'd hand it to him, the little piece you'd made. Yeah, it's ugly as hell, right? But it'll work. So if it's sitting on the edge of the bed, yeah, and I can plug the power cord in. That's good enough. No, there will not be plans on this. However, out of the original 2x4, I still got 4 pieces left out of 7, I think. Plus a couple offcuts. That's kind of cool. What I'm kind of thinking here on what I've got left, right? I am training myself to quit that thought of, okay, I need to make something, let me go buy something first, right? So my mantra is going to be fabricate or die. And I'm thinking I've got enough materials here, like for instance, you know, I've got a whole bunch of scraps. Like for instance, you know, this was an example. I actually started using these. These are offcuts from the trusses. You know, I've got a whole bunch of these. So I'm like, what can I do with them? And I found it didn't feel safe cutting a wedge. So I stopped almost at the end because it wasn't long enough, right? So when I found this piece, it's just long enough to get past the end of the saw, right? But I'm looking, it's like, I've got a lot of scraps. And I need stuff like this. You know, I'm going to go mount this on the bed right now, right? And to do that, all I got to do, I'm going to drill through here and drill through here. And this 2x4 will get mounted right on the 2x4 that's the bed. And I thought about it, like, okay, this way I can take this off later and move it if I want to. Okay. And it's strong. I mean, it's not, you're not going to drive your truck over it, but it's solid. Charming. I like it. Now that I've done this and figured out that I probably can get away with using the brads on small projects, I'm thinking pen holders. All over my desk, there's just always like markers laying everywhere, something like that. So instead of wasting bigger wood, look for the scraps, cut it down. You know, I'm going to make a bunch of stuff that looks like this, I think. It's just kind of cool. It's good enough. That's the biggest thing. You know, how do I care? All right, thanks for watching.